are delighted on so many levels that this event is taking place today. Many of you are here from Vancouver, from Simon Fraser University. Many of you are here from Wolfson College, Oxford, not quite such a commute, but we're equally pleased to see you in here too. But more than that, we have the wonderful Yosef Wosk, who is a visiting scholar with us, also from Vancouver, who is the driving force behind our historic, really, collaboration between Simon Fraser University and the Oxford Centre for Life Writing. Without him, absolutely none of many things would be possible. Today is all about New Life Joke Shop, his brand new book. And it's wonderful, serendipitous timing that this has come out and is being launched while the SFU students are here. Now, it's rarely been harder to introduce a writer here at the Life Writing Centre. We've introduced many a writer with many a varied and illustrious career, but there are very few things that Yosef hasn't done or achieved or received many accolades for. He's that rare creature, a truly interdisciplinary scholar, a Renaissance man, if you like. And he's played a major role in the intellectual community at Simon Fraser University as a fellow, as adjunct professor in the Department of Humanities and the director of the interdisciplinary programs in continuing studies. He founded the Canadian Academy of Independent Scholars, and few come more independent than he does, I think. He's an art collector, a philanthropist, an author of multiple works of life writing for which he's won non-fiction prizes and awards for social awareness. We've been hugely privileged to have him here with us as a visiting scholar and a part of our community over the summer. But unfortunately for us, he is too all-embracing to stay put in our little corner of North Oxford. He's been all over Europe all summer, and he's just this minute really come back from Africa. And this traveling, constantly curious, constantly wondering at the world is what drives his latest book. All told with his deeply authentic blend of humanity, humility, and humour. So Yosef, thank you very much indeed. And just to add that there are free signed copies of this and his other works at the back. Please don't injure each other in the crush at the end. There are at least 30, so no elbowing, scratching or biting. But Yosef, thank you very, very much indeed. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Kate. My Life as a Spy. This book is all over the map. From serious to iconoclastic, to humor, the intellect, the emotions, things I went through, the esoteric literature, the thoughts about technology and innovation. This first piece, My Life as a Spy, yes, it's a provocative title, but it really did happen. When I was a student, so I was probably in my mid-20s in New York at Yeshiva University, and millions of Jewish people were held in the Soviet Union who wanted to get out, and they were refused immigration, and so the title that was given to them were the refuseniks. There were different ways of keeping in touch with them. One was sending emissaries to speak with them and just to encourage them, to tell them, you are not forgotten. So we were interviewed in the yeshiva, in the seminary, and accepted. But then we were told, now you have to meet your handler. We had no idea who was sponsoring us, but we were given directions out to Brooklyn, to Coney Island, at a nondescript motel on the side of near Brighton Beach. And we go in, and there's no one there to greet us. So we thought, did we get the wrong day, the wrong time? Was this a test of some sort? So we waited and waited. After about 10 minutes, we realized we better take a chance, which we did. And before we even finished, after we mentioned his name, the fellow at reception says, down the hall to your right. So we go down there, knock on the door. After a minute, the fellow comes and he says, "You're late." He said, "But we didn't want to give your name. We thought it would compromise the mission." He said, if I can't trust you here, how can I trust you overseas? So we were very humbled and contrite. And then he gave us a list of names, addresses, and phone numbers in a number of cities. One of the ways of dealing with stress in any country, and certainly in our own lives, is humor. And you found that in spades in the Soviet Union. A guy, a favorite term used by English-speaking Russians, gets a job as a spy. He's sent on his first mission and told that the secret password he has to give to his contact is, "The night bird flies at dawn." He's instructed to go to London, head to Piccadilly Circus. This sounds like an SFU type pilgrimage. Head to Piccadilly Circus and speak to a guy in a purple fedora busking. So he flies to London, goes to Piccadilly Circus, finds a busker with the purple fedora and says to him, "The night bird flies at dawn." The busker replies, "Right, mate. Now you need to go to Paris and talk to a guy sitting under the Eiffel Tower painting a picture of eggplants." So off to Paris he goes, down to the Eiffel Tower, and he sees someone sitting under it painting a picture of eggplants. "The night bird flies at dawn." "Oh, oui, the night bird. Next you must go to New York, Greenwich Village, 177A Bleecker Street, and speak to a man named Goldberg." He proceeds to New York, Greenwich Village, 177A Bleecker Street. He looks at the mailbox and sees Goldberg to B. He knocks on the door, and when someone answers it, he says, "The night bird flies at dawn." The guy, clearly annoyed, rolls his eyes and says, "No, no, no, you want Goldberg the spy. He's in 5C. 5 precepts of the Soviet intelligentsia. Don't think. If you think, then don't speak. If you think and speak, then don't write. If you think, speak, and write, then don't sign. If you think, speak, write, and sign, then don't be surprised. One of the rabbis in the Talmud, about 2,000 years ago, commented about what he had learned. He said, "If all the heavens were parchment, all the seas ink, if all the trees were quills, it would still not be enough to record all that I have learned from my masters. And I have learned only as much as an insect that dips in the great ocean and absorbs the smallest amount." I've spent a life in learning. I guess at first it was forced upon us. We've all been tamed and domesticated to be part of a family, a society. I've tried in my life over the years, and it's been a slow revelation to see the true nature of life. It took decades to learn to think for myself. And a lot of that just came in the last 20, 25 years. And it was only through a lifelong engagement of slowly learning how to speak, how to express, how to accept, that I discovered the joy, literally, of conversation, of expression, of supporting others, and and growing myself. In one of the sections, it's a series of essays, about 20 of them. Some are just one sentence and some 2 or 3 pages. This short 3-paragraph on pilgrimage. Herman Melville from Moby Dick. It is not down on any map. True places never are. Our entire lives are a pilgrimage, a personal journey through the unfolding of a greater continuum. Whether here at home or on distant roads to seemingly impossible locations, there are even certain destinations that you can't get to by going anywhere. Pilgrimage remains a significant means towards understanding existence. Pilgrimage presents both a challenge and an opportunity. Those who are conscious of the meaning of their travels have a greater chance of achieving their goals. And yet one must also make room for getting lost and setting aside time for serendipitous assignations with unexpected phenomena. What may at first seem like an inconvenient detour often ends up defining the journey. Some pilgrims travel to give thanks, others to seek forgiveness or to ask for healing, love, or power. Some wander in search of the other, many to know the self. All must travel very far to know that which was always near. Another chapter in the book was written, now it's 6 years ago, just before I turned 70, and I decided I was alone then, hoping to meet someone, get married again on a romantic around-the-world voyage. I finally, after many attempts, realized I'm getting older before I find the perfect person. So I decided to start looking for around-the-world cruises. And I found one. It was Holland, America, a 4-month cruise, the North Hemisphere as much as the South, and east-west, going through both canals. It seemed like the ideal trip. And on that trip, I was about to turn 70, just as we were entering from North Australia and through Indonesia and into the Indian Ocean. The warm waters of the Indian Ocean lay just ahead. It is where I will greet my threshold day of reckoning, the completion of 7 decades and into the 8th. March 26, 2019. After 70 years of uninterrupted labor, the day finally arrived. I recited Modeh, the short prayer of gratitude that greets each day, opened one eye and then the next, checked my still buoyant heart, took a deep breath, and carried on. There remains so much more to know, to do, to be. Old men, I now realize, must still be explorers. Hugh is not here right now, right?
Hugh is there.
Hugh, can you please come up and not to embarrass you, but I'd like to make a presentation. This is something that we've spoken about starting a special collections and rare books library here at Wolfson, and I know you've spoken with the librarian, with Fiona. Mm-hmm. I've gone ahead and the quote from T.S. Eliot, we found an edition signed by Eliot. It's a 1960 Faber and Faber. You get the bag too. It's from the rare books and antiquarian from Blackwell's. With many of you familiar with that now. Here, right next to the Bodleian, and I'll read this from the original volume that I'd then like to present to you on behalf of Wolfson College for the first book. I know it's not official yet, but if we push it a bit, by the way, I'll just show you because this is a treat. Here is the signature. And so Eliot held this very volume and signed it. And this will be the cornerstone of the new rare books and special collections here. Old men not to be explorers. Here and there does not matter. We must be still and still moving into another intensity for a further union, a deeper communion through the dark, cold, and the empty desolation. The wave cry, the wind cry, the vast waters of the petrel and the porpoise. In my end is my beginning. Quick now, here now, always. A condition of complete simplicity, costing not less than everything. And all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well, when the tongues of flame are enfolded into the crowned knot of fire, and the fire and the rose are one.
Yosef, this is as much a delight as it is a surprise. Thank you very much on behalf of us all here at Wolfson. What a wonderful benefaction to start, and may great things flourish in our special collections.
Wonderful.
Thank you
Very welcome. This is on the special edition, the well-designed book. A generic book could be simply described as a set of written, printed, or blank pages fastened along one edge and encased between protective covers. But the well-designed book, limited edition or rare book, is another species altogether, for it is also concerned with the quality, uniqueness, and aesthetic value of each volume. Not only are the words themselves important, but extra care is also paid to the book's edition, quality of content, design, printing, and provenance. It is not sufficient that words alone be legible. Additional dimensions are brought to bear, ones that appreciate with a sense of exquisite attention borne upon the winds of infinite patience, the potion of ink, the vintage of press, and the mill of paper. We lift the book to the light as well as to the shadow, to catch the glint upon the ink as fresh today as it was 500 years ago. Such great consideration is lavished upon the binding that even an accidental glance can result in a profound aesthetic experience that at once quickens the eye and captures the heart. The most magnificent books achieve that rare combination of outer vision with inner content. Contrary to popular proverb, when happening upon such publications, one could very well judge a book by its cover. Design is not just an afterthought or a minor detail. It is not an inconvenience nor a stumbling block. Design is wings and wonder. It is a reliquary, an appropriate vessel, grand or humble, heavy or thin, for all those who would be embraced by its protective aesthetics. The slimmest volume, attired in time and texture, in exquisitely composed space and perfect typeface, is a parenthetical reiteration of creation itself. When we gaze upon this fine book or that bold building, when we hear music that animates the soul, when we garb our bodies in impeccable textiles designed by a master tailor, or taste a sublime recipe that closes the eyes and awakens the flavors of Eden, these works serve as a mentoring mirror to arouse us once again to the highest calling of the possible human. So Apollinaire's parable, the teacher of life and his students. Come to the edge, he said. We are afraid, they said. Come to the edge, he said. They came. He pushed them, and they flew. Thank you.